I'm so tired of the so-called experts because they haven't caught any of these things along the way. Now they're scoffing at the idea that China is about to dethrone the United States as the world's next superpower. I think it may have already happened, and we better wake up. I trust regular Americans more than these so-called experts. Your agenda is America. What is their agenda? I can't figure it out sometimes. 44% of Americans now believe China is the world's leading economic power. Only 27% think the U.S. is. Take a minute to absorb that. Why do you think that is? What do the people know that the experts refuse to address? Maybe the experts just don't know how to read, because I just read the Chinese government is cutting back on imports. When I saw that, I went, holy, Usually that wouldn't matter much. But remember how our fearless leader plans to save our economy.
We will double our exports over the next 5 years, an increase that will support 2 million jobs in America.
Biggest market in the world, China. China cutting back, America doubling things to sell to people who aren't buying. I don't think this is going to end well. Now, who do you think is going to win in the end? China is a new form of government. It's a combination of communism and capitalism. It's state-run capitalism. It's ugly. Thug communist country, that's who we're dealing with. But we've been so nicey nice at the leaders level, we don't even call them Red China anymore. The way we used to do business 50 or maybe 100 years ago, we were nimble. We didn't have a lot of government regulation, out-of-control unions. You could invent something, you could think it, you could do it, and it was out there. We don't do that anymore. We don't do it for a million reasons, but one of them is unions. But China does it another way. China is on the verge of problems with citizen unrest. I have to tell you, I am concerned about what's going to, just as what we're feeling here, the Chinese are feeling it over there in a different way. For example, when they needed to build up Beijing for the Olympics, they brought in all these migrant workers from the rice paddies of the countryside. Now, this is not the real countryside, man. Countryside over in China is a place you wouldn't recognize. 1 million construction workers just taken out of, 400 AD and then brought to Beijing, stuffed into cramped living quarters like sardines and working on bamboo scaffolding, building these buildings and seeing the Olympics. When the job was completed, yeah, go back to your rice paddy. You see this? I know it doesn't ring, but there's rings. You see this, and then you go back to a rice paddy? Are you kidding me? How do you sustain that? Oh, you don't like it? How about a bullet to the head? That's the way China does business. We don't do business that way, thank goodness. They will win at any and all costs because people don't matter to them. Remember Chairman Mao. They will undercut every single time. All they need is the power, and they're about to have it. We have created a system here in America where you can't cut, you can't move, you can't create, you can't do what you want. Have you ever been in a business where there's somebody in the business, a workspace, that nobody will fire? No, you can't fire them. Why? Either a lawsuit or a union. Let's look back at a union problem with the teachers from Queens. See this guy? Back in 2001, Alan Rosenfeld, he's a typing teacher. He's the kind of guy that some might say you'd eventually find, on Chris Hansen. He was accused of making lewd comments to junior high school girls, quote, staring at their butts. He would say things to students like, quote, you have a sexy body. And then he would ask them if they had boyfriends. Finally, one student was brave enough to testify against him, and he was punished. You know what he got? A slap on the wrist from the Department of Education. A week off, without pay, for conduct unbecoming a teacher. Are you kidding me? You got daughters in school? Are you cool with that? He was cleared to resume teaching, but the school chancellor, get this, the school chancellor felt that Rosenfeld might be a danger to the kids, you think? Wanted to fire him. Nope, not in America anymore. Common sense is dead. Enter the unions. He can't be fired. Why? Union contract. So where has Alan Rosenfeld been? For nearly 10 years, he spends his day in a Department of Education rubber room. For his efforts, Rosenfeld earns $100,049 of New York taxpayer dollars every single year. This man is a millionaire for doing nothing. When he retires, he'll get paid half of the sick days he's accumulated. He's only got 435 of those sick days. He stands to collect a juicy pension of $82,000, taxpayer dollars every year. And by the way, that pension grows each and every year by $1,700. Retirement age is 62. He's 64. He's decided not to retire for now. We can't even fire a guy the school is afraid might be a predator. He's got a 6-figure salary. Why? The unions. What do you think in a race to the top? You think this country is going to win? Or the people who will just grab you out of a rice paddy, say, build the building on that bamboo scaffolding, and then back to the rice paddy? Is there not one decent person? Is there not one decent person who values integrity more than their contract? I say most union members are those decent people. They love America just as much as I do, and I rail about the unions all the time. But it's not the union members, it's the union leadership, just like we found out with the Soviets. It wasn't the Soviet people, it was their leaders. We're all the same. Republican, Democrat, union, non-union, we are the same. We just have to cut the crap and start actually doing the right thing. The way to remain the world's superpower is more unions, more SEIU. You know and I know that it's not going to work. The only way is through the people. The people. You call it populist all you want. I call it American. More on that next.